Hello there everyone, Tracy Filter here with Tracy's Ink Spot. I'm going to share with you today a project that I'm going to create using my Stamparatus. I've been trying to do a series here on Saturdays that involve the Stamparatus, whether it's showing you tips or tricks or easy designs, etc. So this is the first one I'm trying to do for you today. We're going to be using the Beauty of Friendship stamp set, which has these trees that need multiple images to fulfill the whole picture. This is really great reason to be using your Stamparatus because it'll help you with the perfect placement. All right, so this is going to be where we're headed. I'm using 2 shades of green and 2 shades of a brown in order to create my entire tree and card front. All right, so I'm going to set this off to the side. I'm going to start. I have a 4 1/4 by 11 piece of crumb cake, scored at 5 1/2. I have another piece that's 4 by 5 1/4, and I have run it through my 3D paint embossing folder. I'll have all the details in the comment section so you can find product information, etc. I have a piece of soft succulent, and I have a piece of basic white that I've cut out with my stitched rectangle dies. All right, so let's get our Stamparatus ready to go. I'm only going to need 1 plate for this, but because this is a photopolymer set, I am going to need my squishy mat. Oh, and I should take the magnets off. Now remember, your magnets are very, 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 very strong, and you want to keep them far apart from each other so that they do not stick together. So definitely separate and keep them far apart from each other. All right, my little squishy mat is in place. I'm going to go ahead and set my piece here. And I'm just going to attach a little bit to each of the corners because most of my image is going to be centered. All right, I'm going to be needing the base of the tree and then the accent and the trunk. Now, if you can see that this one here is the one that's going to have the most, what's the word I'm looking for? It's got the most detail and the most of an image, and then this is meant to be an overlay for accent. So this is the one I'm going to do with my lighter color, and this is the one I'm going to do with my darker color to accent over the top. So my lighter color is soft succulent. So I'm going to go ahead and open that up. And I want that tree image, and I'm going to want to put it right about there, I think, near the top of the rectangle. Then I'm just going to bring this down so that I can attach it to my plate. Oh, there's the tricky part. These photopolymers like to be very, 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 very sticky. So I'm going to need a little more magnet room, I think. Okay, and go a little bit higher. So as you can see, this might take a little bit of adjusting when you're trying to get used to using your Stamparatus. Okay, a little bit higher, I think. And remember, keep those magnets far apart from each other. You definitely don't want to have to try to separate those after they have been stuck together. Okay, alrighty, I think that is good. So I'm going to go ahead, ink up my stamp. Whoop. Those photopolymers are super sticky. I do keep my chamois handy so I can wipe off my plate a little bit so I don't stick my fingers in something that I don't want to. Okay, now that I have my ink on my stamp, I'm going to go ahead and drop that down, give it some good pressure all over, and you can see it didn't quite get to the top. So I'm going to move the magnet a little bit so I have a little bit more, and I'm going to stand up and get a little more pressure up at the top. That is the beauty of using your Stamparatus. If it doesn't quite fit the first time, you can have it go the second time and it'll be perfect because you have the placement just right. Okay, I'm going to take that one off. Close up my soft succulent. All right, now I'm going to grab the more detailed stamp, and you're going to be able to lay it right over the top while you're looking to see where you think it looks the best for lining it up. Okay? Sorry if my head gets in the way. I want to make sure I'm standing over this. All right, that is about where we're going to want that to be. I'm going to go ahead and stick that down. There we go. Okay, this time I'm going to add Evening Evergreen over the top. Again, ink. I know that's a little off camera, but you get the idea. All right, bring that down. Little gentle pressure and a lift. And I need some more up here. And voila, and now I have my tree shaded the way I want it to be. All right, I'm going to readjust my magnets a little bit because I'm going to want to add the trunk and the stem now, and I don't want this magnet over here to get in the way. All right, take this one off. Again, I'm just going to wipe it clean with my chamois. You could also just have a damp paper towel or something like that nearby if you don't have a chamois yet. But if you do, I should say, highly recommend them. I love my Stamparatus. All right, I'm going to be using crumb cake on the tree, and I can see in a little spot in here about where the trunk and the stems want to be. I'm going to go off of it a little bit, so it's going to hang off my final piece there. Kind of gives it a finished look when you have an image that goes off an edge, kind of like that for something like this. Come on, sticky. There we go. Okay, going to go ahead and ink up my tree with crumb cake. Go back over the top again and apply the pressure. Okay, and there is my tree trunk. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Take that one off. And then for my verse, I went with a little darker shade. I went with Early Espresso because I want to see it over that tree trunk image, and the tree trunk being crumb cake, a lighter brown. We want to make sure that we can still see that the ink is dark enough to see once we're all done. Okay, sorry, when I'm working to get it placed, I tend to forget that I should be talking too. Alrighty, there is our phrase, all set to go. Peel that off really gently. Okay, Early Espresso now is going to go on like so. And again, nice pressure across the whole stamp, making sure we catch all sides. And now we have our phrase attached. All right, so magnet to the side, magnet to the side. Very, very, very important detail. Don't forget that. You want to keep those magnets nice and separate from each other. I'm even going to go ahead and set them way farther across from each other on my table so that I have my work surface ready. Okay, so now for assembly, this one goes together pretty quick. I just attach that white rectangle. I'm going to see about where I want that to be. Now I'm going to bring in some ribbon, and I know I'm going to want that ribbon to be kind of accenting across the top of where that phrase is. So set that aside for a second. And this is about where I want my ribbon to be. I'm going to go ahead and trim off the piece I need for sizing. A little bit extra here. This is an evergreen chevron ribbon that is in the 2021-2022 annual catalog. I absolutely love the texture on it. It's so nice. All right, let's get a glue dot. I like to apply my glue dot directly to the product itself that I want to be sticking. Might take a little more effort with this ribbon. It's a little thicker. But rather than trying to handle a glue dot in my fingers, I find it much easier to do on here. Okay, so I wanted that to be about there. Wrap it around, and those glue dots will be holding that in place for you. Okay, now we can go ahead and attach this piece right here. Okay, and then these go together really easily. You're just going to give your card base a little burnish with your bone folder to give the crease really nice. You can choose some extra dimension on this if you wanted to pop up this layer. You could do that. I'm just going to tape mine directly down. I know I'm going to be mailing this one out, and I want to save some of the bulk on that, especially since I have a little ribbon with a knot on it in the end. I am going to pop this guy up on dimensionals though, because I think that needs a little bit of a lift. All right, so I've got my minis in the corner. And because this is a larger piece, I like to have something in the middle so that it doesn't sag down too much. Oop, come on. Always the very exciting part, trying to get those guys off. All right, one more, come on. And last guy there. Okay, great. Got all those off now. And this one's just going to be centered within that rectangle. And then lastly, I'm just going to tie a knot with my chevron ribbon. and then I will attach that final piece with a glue dot as well. This is a little bit of a ribbon saving trick. You don't want to, it would take extra bulk if you wrapped all the way around and tried to make a knot that way. So just a little bit around and then a separate knot makes it a little easier to work with and a little less bulk. All right, and again, I take my glue dot directly to my strip of dots, or I should say my bow to my strip of glue dots. And I'm just going to attach that over to the side, and it looks like you've wrapped a ribbon around and then pulled it into a knot. Alrighty, so there, friends, is our finished project with the help of the Stamparatus to get the perfect placement for all the layers of the tree. Alright, thanks for joining me today, and I hope you enjoyed that project. Have a great one. Bye now.